Tonight in Houston, a familiar Southwest Division matchup arrives under very different circumstances for both sides. I'm Ryder Bullock. Welcome to the Hardwood Report. The Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets meeting for the fourth time this season, but with the spotlight firmly fixed on what just happened and what might come next. Just 2 nights ago, the Mavericks watched a remarkable individual performance slip away. Rookie Cooper Flagg poured in 49 points, the highest single game total by a Dallas player this season, and yet Dallas still walked out off the floor on the wrong side of a 123-121 loss to Charlotte. It was a night that showed both Flagg's brilliance and the razor-thin margin the Mavericks are living with right now. Dallas enters play at 19-29, sitting 12th in the Western Conference. They've struggled inside the division, and they'll be shorthanded again tonight. No Kyrie Irving and no Anthony Davis, both unavailable. Derek Lively II lost for the season. So for this team, it's about surviving possessions, creating offense by committee, and seeing whether Flagg's historic scoring night can become something more sustainable. Houston, meanwhile, has been steadier. The Rockets are 29-17, fourth in the West, and they've built their success on discipline. When Houston takes care of the basketball, they usually win an 11-3 record when they commit fewer turnovers than their opponent. Kevin Durant, my X factor tonight, continues to be the centerpiece, averaging 26.5 points a game, with Alperen Sengun providing constant production inside. And despite recent injuries, the Rockets have gone 7-3 over the last 10, winning games by defending and controlling tempo. These teams know each other very well, and Dallas won the most recent meeting earlier this month, 110-104, behind 26 points a night from Anthony Davis, who will be watching tonight from the sideline. So the question as we tip off here in about 20 minutes, can Houston continue its push near the top of the West? And can Dallas turn a stunning individual performance into a team result? That is what we will be tracking when the Rockets and the Mavs tip off in Houston in about 20 minutes from now. More on this game in a moment, but first we go to the big story of the day, and that is Paul George. Paul George suspended 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. And before everybody jumps up and down, screaming, yelling, calling it a disgrace to the league, let's slow this down for a second. This is not some guy getting busted at a nightclub at 3 in the morning, okay? That matters, okay? George puts out a statement, says he was seeking treatment, mental health related, took the wrong medication, says he screwed up, took responsibility, apologized, fine by me. That's all well, that's good. Glad you're getting help. But, this is the key, the rule is the rule. The NBA doesn't care why you took it, they care what you took. Simple. 25 games, that's the punishment. That's not nothing. That's a third of the season if you think about it. And I want to talk about the real impact because that's where this gets interesting. Financially, he's lost $11.7 million, 11.7. That's about $470,000 per game. Every time he doesn't lace him up, there goes another $500,000. So that's real money, even for Paul George. But here's the other thing nobody's talking about enough. This actually helps the Sixers financially. They'll save over $5 million in luxury tax. So suddenly, they're right around the tax line. It gives them flexibility at the deadline, which is, this week. And if you think front offices don't notice that, please, of course they do. Now on the court, because that's what fans care about, and that's truly what the Sixers care about, Philadelphia is 16-11 when George plays, 10-10 when he doesn't. That's not catastrophic. It's not great either, but it tells you something. They can survive. The big three, Embiid, Maxey, George, have played 365 minutes together. That's nothing. And yet, when they're together, they're +7 per 100 possessions. That's legit. That's real. So the question becomes, and this is the big question, can they hang around until March 25th? 10 games left when he comes back. 10. It's not a lot of runway. It's barely enough time to get rhythm, let alone chemistry heading into the playoffs. And Embiid, listen to Embiid's comments, he wants the group kept together. He likes the vibes. Says they've been dunking, and he knows what time it is. He's basically saying, don't mess this up. So you tell me, is this suspension devastating? My answer to that is no. Is it damaging? Absolutely. Does it put more pressure on Embiid's health and Maxi's workload? Without question. And here's the bottom line. There's always a bottom line, and that is that the Sixers built this thing to win, right? And they want it now, not later. And when you miss 25 games from one of your stars, even for reasons people may sympathize with, the clock doesn't stop. It just keeps ticking. So that is what is going on at the moment in Philadelphia. We will, of course, keep you updated throughout the day on what we know. Elsewhere in the NBA, the trade deadline speculations intensify around the Warriors' pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Draymond Green says he isn't worried about his future in Golden State. The 35-year-old, who has spent 14 seasons with the franchise, acknowledged that being traded is part of the business, but said it's not affecting him. Team sources indicate that everyone on the roster except Stephen Curry could be in play as the Warriors look to reshape the team late in Curry's career. Because of salary matching rules, any Giannis deal would likely require either Green, $25.8 million, or injured forward Jimmy Butler, $54.1 million, to be included. Despite declining offensive numbers, Green remains the Warriors' starting power forward and an elite defender, and he reiterated that he remains open to communication with the front office as the deadline approaches. Stephen Curry was ruled out in the second half of the Warriors' 131-124 loss to the Pistons due to the soreness in his right knee. He began limping after a hard layup late in the third quarter and was removed shortly after, later icing the knee and leaving the arena without speaking to reporters. The issue is related to inflammation that has been nagging Curry for more than a week and previously forced him to miss a game in Minnesota. Coach Steve Kerr said the injury does not appear serious, but acknowledged it's been lingering. Curry finished with 23 points in 25 minutes, and the Warriors expect an update before their next game Tuesday against Philadelphia after 3 days off. And finally, former UCLA guard Amari Bailey says he wants to go back to college basketball after playing NBA games. Not workouts, not summer league, actual NBA games. And if this happens, if this gets approved, you might as well just blow the doors off the NCAA eligibility rulebook because it opens Pandora's box and you're never getting the lid back on. Let's be very clear here. College athletics, whatever it's becoming, is still supposed to be college athletics. There has to be some line, some barrier, some point where you say, okay, you're crossed over. Bailey crossed over. He was drafted. He signed an NBA contract. He played in NBA games. That's it. End of discussion. Now, he's 21 years old, saying, well, I made mistakes. I've got more to prove. Why not me? Because the answer's simple. Because you left. You don't get to treat college basketball like a developmental safety net. You don't get to say, I tried the league, it didn't work out, let me come back and take someone else's spot, because that's what this reality is. Every roster spot Bailey might take is a high school kid who never gets a chance, a freshman who waited his turn, a sophomore who stayed, a junior who didn't chase the G League. And don't give me the money argument. Yes, NIL exists. Yes, college kids are getting paid. That doesn't mean college and professional basketball are the same thing. The minute you sign a professional contract, especially an NBA contract, you are no longer a college athlete. You are a pro. And the NCAA president is right on this one. For once, he says if you signed an NBA contract, you're out. That should be the line in the sand. Now here's where this gets dangerous. You've already got judges stepping in, you got injunctions, you got lawyers shopping for friendly courts, you've got players saying, well, what about this guy? What about this guy and that guy? And that's how rules die. Because if Bailey gets in, what's next? Second round picks coming back after 2 years. Guys who's played 40 NBA games. Former rotation players who didn't get a second contract. You turn college basketball into a minor league rehab for failed pros. And let me say this too, because nobody wants to say it. This is not about education. This is not about growth. This is about basketball opportunity. And that's fine. Just don't pretend it's something else. If you want to say first round picks can't come back, but second round guys can, okay. At least that's a rule. I don't like that rule, but at least it would be a rule. If you want to say NBA games played equals disqualification, great. Draw the line. But no line at all, that's chaos. I know it. You know it. Coaches know it. High school players know it. The NCAA knows it. So once you let pro athletes sue their way back into college sports, you no longer have a system. You've got a free-for-all. Now, I want to be very clear. This is one of those games where the records don't. So I want to be clear on this one, though. I don't like this. It will play out in court, obviously, and that. But I think once you sign that NBA contract, your NCAA eligibility has to be done. If not, we're opening Pandora's box. Will be interesting to see where that story goes, and right now it's all in the courts, and of course we will keep you updated. I want to go to tonight's game because this is one of those games where the records don't tell the whole story, and the number is doing a lot of talking. Houston is clearly the better team on paper. They're healthier, they're deeper, and they're playing at home. Dallas, they're beat up, shorthanded, no Kyrie, no Anthony Davis, no Lively. But that doesn't automatically mean a blowout. And that's where people get trapped. So the big picture here is Dallas comes in 19-29, losers of 3 straight, but those losses matter. They were underdogs in all 3, and they were competitive. Cooper Flagg dropped 49 points in a loss. When a rookie does that, you know one thing. The usage is real. Houston, meanwhile, is 29-17, 4th in the West, and they're playing well. 6 wins in their last 8 games. But they're not blowing teams out. That Atlanta game was an outlier. Before that, a lot of close wins. This is the 4th meeting of the season. That matters. These teams know each other well. That matters. So, my matchup breakdown. When Houston has the ball, Houston wants to play clean basketball. They want to win the turnover margin, and they want to get production from Durant and Sengun without forcing tempo. They're 11-3 when they win the turnover battle. That's the stat to watch. Dallas can't get sloppy because Houston thrives on live ball mistakes. Sengun is the matchup problem. With no Lively and no Davis, Dallas has to gang, rebound, and keep him off the glass. If Sengun gets second chances, this thing gets ugly quick. When Dallas has the ball, this is simple. Dallas has to slow the game, right? Make Houston guard for 20 or more seconds. Use that shot clock to your advantage to get efficient nights from Flagg and Williams. Flagg isn't just scoring, he's facilitating now, looking like a veteran. And Brandon Williams, he's playing with confidence. And all that matters, especially late in the season like tonight. Houston gives up 110 a night. That's solid, but not elite. Dallas averages 114, even with all the injuries. So that brings us to tonight's keys to the game. Number 1, it's turnovers. If Dallas keeps turnovers under 14, that's the magic number, they stay in the game. Houston lives off mistakes. Okay? More than 14, this game is a blowout. Houston will win by 30. Under 14 keeps it pretty close. Key number 2, game pace. Dallas cannot let this become a track meet. Long possessions, half-court basketball. Milk that clock. 24 seconds on the shot clock. Use 20 of them. And finally, bench contributions. Houston has depth, but Dallas's role players have been better lately than people give them credit for. If Williams and Marshall give them production, the numbers matter. And one thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye on is free throw differential. Dallas has to get to the line. That's how underdogs survive on the road. So There you go. Players to watch, Mavericks, Cooper Flag coming off 49. Usage rate is enormous. Brandon Williams, quietly consistent. The PRA prop makes sense. Najee Marshall is a glue guy. Defense, rebounds, toughness. For the Rockets, Kevin Durant's my X factor. He's steady. He's surgical. He's not going to force it. Alperen Sengun is the biggest matchup advantage on the floor. Houston's guards, can they create separation or do they settle tonight? That is the big key. Tonight's pick and play, let's talk about the number. Houston minus 10.5. That's a big number for a team that hasn't been winning big games and hasn't been winning big, really. I mean, they already lost twice to Dallas, right? That's a stat worth noting. They're also facing teams that slow games down. Dallas is 7-11 in games decided by 10 or more, but that's misleading. This version of Dallas right now is playing tighter games. We've seen that last week against the Lakers. Over-unders 221.5. That's about right. No strong lean there. So I'm not going to tell you Dallas wins this game. I'm telling you they stay inside the number. Houston's going to win this game. Dallas will compete. And I think the game lives in that 6 to 9 point range most of the night. So the pick, Dallas plus 10.5. That's the play. That's the value. That's the bet. You don't overthink it. You take the points and you move on. That will do it for this edition of the Hardwood Report. We will take a break and tip-off will follow. I'm Ryder Bullock saying good night, and we'll see you at halftime.